If you've ever co-signed for someone in the past or you're about to in the near future, you definitely want to stick around for this video because there is a new Canadian tax law that requires you to file an information return. We have tax expert Cherry Chan coming on to talk all about it. So by the end of this video, you will know exactly what you need to do.
So, Cherry, there's one thing that as mortgage brokers, we've been getting a lot of questions on. And I was just on your YouTube earlier and I saw that you had addressed it. So I thought maybe we could touch on it briefly. And that is the bear trusts and the trust agreements for how it relates to people who have co-signed for family members. Can you touch on that, on what people should look out for and kind of how to prepare for things like this?
So there are multiple things in this new type of reporting in Canada and also in the US. My understanding is in the US, the same rule applies starting also this particular year. When I hear a lot of rumbling noises in the marketplace complaining about this rule, and I'm like, you can't really escape it because even if you want to move south, you still have to be exposed to this type of similar reporting requirement. Basically, Justin Trudeau's government came out and said, hey, we really want to know who truly owns the account, who truly owns the property. Because in the old days, and even now it's still allowed, essentially you can go on title, legal title of the property, but you're not the true owner. The true owner could be someone else. So you could be the one that's going on title, qualifying for financing. You're the legal title owner. And the true owner, which we normally call beneficial owner, would be different. So it could be your daughter or your mom living in that property, but you're just going on title to help them qualify for financing because they can't be on title and they can't qualify for financing. So there is a mismatch between the legal owner and the beneficial owner. This relationship always exists. And it was essentially adopted all the way from like old England law. We adopted that in Canada and that is allowed. And in the past, there's no reporting required by CRA. So the government doesn't really know who the true owner is. And truth to be told, 99% of the time, your legal title owner equals a beneficial owner. Like I live in my own house, I own the house, and I reap the benefit of using the house. I'm the true beneficial owner. 99% of the time they equal each other, so there is no issue. But it is only at situation where they're not equal each other. Then now the CRA wants to tighten up the rule. They want to know who the true owners are, and therefore they come out and say, hey, starting from January 1st, 2023, if you have a true beneficial owner and the legal owner is really truly a bare trustee, essentially holding title in trust for someone else, under that scenario, you're now required to report to us as CRA who your true beneficial owner is. You have to tell us you are just the legal title owner. Going back to your example, one of the most common example is that people go on title to qualify for financing for their loved one. And sometimes they go on title, they are the only one that's on title, their mom lives in the property. You now have a bare trust relationship, even though it's not written anywhere, not documented anywhere, but your mom is the true owner of the property. She pays for all the expenses, property taxes, and everything. She's the owner of the property, but because she can't get financing and therefore she's not on title. So then there is a mismatch, and now you have the filing obligation and you have to file a T3 trust return. And the deadline to file that is April 2nd. Now, if you don't file it on time this year, CRA does say that they're going to waive the penalty for not filing it on time. However, there's a gross negligence penalty that they could potentially come out and say, hey, you know that you have to do the work and you're not doing it, and therefore we hit you with the gross negligence penalty. So then there is that fine line, that gray area, essentially. Hey, like what is called gross negligence? When do I need to file? And are they going to impose that? So right now, what we're saying is that try your best to file before April 2nd. File that. Even if you're late, make sure you still file it if you have that type of relationship.
It's one of those things that I think people are so confused that a lot of people aren't going to do it, and that falls in the negligence category. It's what I said to someone this morning. I was like, call your accountant, discuss the scenario with them, and they'll tell you if you need to file or not. But like, don't just not do it because you feel you don't understand how things work right now. That's a little bit concerning. They were like, I found this on TikTok. This is the only reason I heard about it. And I was like, it is a little bit concerning that this coming top down from the federal government, you're finding out on TikTok, not through the government. But
I
It
so
was
is
just gonna say
everywhere
that.
though.
yeah, so for these people though, I've also heard that if you say you co-sign for your child and you're listed on title, you could then say, oh no, I actually have an equity position in the home and not need to file that as a way to get out of it as well. But it's, from the sounds of things, it's just a filing, it's not an extra form of taxation. Is that correct?
No, so using your exact example, let's say you co-sign with your daughter, and I don't know what your this percentage you're co-signing for. Sometimes it's 1%. Then upon sale of that property, you're technically required to report that 1%. Now, if it doesn't specify as 1% and all the money came from you, essentially the adult child is still a child and not pay for anything. Everything comes from you. Then arguably you could have like a 50% stake or even like bigger equity portion. What it
Mhm.
really means is that by not filing, you are saying that you are also the beneficial owner. You're saying
Okay.
that you're the true owner. So then when you sell the property, the implication is what's down the road. So people look at, oh, the trust filing is just, like who cares? It's information return. But there is implication down the road when you sell the property.
Yeah.
So in your particular example, if that person doesn't specify that they own the 50% or 1%, if it is 50-50, then the parent would have to then report that 50% of capital gain. It's not necessarily a bad idea, but there is that tax implication as well.
Yeah, I think it's an information return in 2024. 2027, there will be some form of tax tied to it. So uh, it is something down the road that will bite us.
Not directly, but by saying one thing today, then you are also absorbing having that tax implication a few years down the road, right?
100%.
I find it crazy that it's not public knowledge that everyone is getting notified on this. Like, I heard it from you, Brandon, and you heard it from TikTok. It's like nobody's really telling us. And I guess it really does come down to your accountant being proactive, I imagine.
Yeah, I spoke to my accountant about it because he was like, "Do you have any of these arrangements set up?" And I was like, "No." So I knew from my accountant, but like someone who reached out to me, they're like, "I just use like
TurboTax. Yeah.
yeah, something like that, like a bookkeeper and whatever." And like they didn't tell me, they don't know about
Yeah.
this, so
It's crazy.
it's a little bit scary that way.
I wouldn't say the government has made a lot of announcement, but the law has come into effect for a couple of years already. They had just delayed the implementation. To be
Okay.
fair, the news outlet has been like crazy on this quite a bit. But because the minute that you see trust return, people automatically glance over it because,
Yeah, yeah.
hey, I don't have a
True.
trust, right? So then they
Yeah.
glance over it. So even with my YouTube video, what I do at the beginning is new CLA reporting rule that would affect you rather than trust. If I mention trust, then nobody is going to click there.
Yeah, for sure. For
Yeah,
sure. Everyone
Yeah.
thinks
Good point.
trust fund kids. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't even cue into your
yeah,
brain as this being relevant. It's like, have you
exactly.
co-signed for your child? This has an impact
There
on
you go. Yeah. It's a good
you.
hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Mhm.
go. We're all gonna leave with a new YouTube video, Sherry.
All right, Cherry, thank you very much for joining us today. It's a pleasure. And if anyone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
It would be on my website, realestatetextips.ca. I'm there, and you can sign up for lots of different easy to understand webinar. You'll get notification for our events, and you'll get notification to all the YouTube video that I publish as well. Yeah, that would be the easiest way.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It was a blast.